Welcome back to another lesson brought to you from Miss Smith's room. Today we're going to be talking about solving real-world problems using coordinate planes. So we're going to talk about how to put together a table for our data and then how to plot those points. We're also going to be talking about how to read the table, read the graphs, and find extra information that isn't given throughout the word problem. So get ready to take some notes and learn all about graphing patterns. Today's lesson is going to be all about solving a real-world problem using a data table and graphing it. We're going to be identifying the pattern that goes along with this word problem and seeing if we can solve different problems based on the information given. So, our word problem says, at the beginning of his summer vacation, Omar had $30 in his savings account. During the summer, he charges $10 to wash his neighbor's car. After washing each car, Omar puts the money in his savings account. Use the information to complete the task and answer the questions below. Let's start with our data table. At the top, we're going to record all of the amount of money Omar has collected over the summer. Starting at 0 cars washed, how much money did he have in his savings account to begin with? From the story, you should have remembered he started with $30. So before he's washed any cars, he has $30 in his bank. Now I want to see how much money he would have after washing 3 cars. So he said that he's gonna charge $10 for every car. So if he washes 3 cars, that means he's doing 10 times 3, which equals 30. But that still doesn't tell us how much money is going to be in his bank account after 3 cars. So how much money will he have in his bank account after 3 cars? Well, he had $30 that were in there to start, and he just made $30 more. So now he has $60 in his bank account. Let's solve for 6 cars now. If he does another 3 cars, that's going to be another $30. So we want to take how much money he has in the bank and add another $30 because he did 3 more cars. So 60 plus 30 equals 90. Hopefully you guys all got 90. I now want you to pause the video here to solve for the 9 cars and the 12 cars, and then let's talk about the pattern we see. Now that you've solved for 9 cars and for 12 cars, you should have found that after 9 cars, Omar has $120 in his bank account, and after 12 cars, he has $150 in his bank account. We see that it's going up by $30 each time in this pattern. Next thing I want us to do is I want us to graph this pattern. You might have noticed that on the y-axis, we see it going up by 20, but our first number is 30. So 30 is not marked with a line on the graph, which means it's going to need to go in between the 20 and the 40, right in the middle. Pause the video here to finish your graph and then check to make sure it looks the same as mine once you're done. Hopefully your line looks just like this, going up in equal increments all the way. You should notice that it's really going up by $10 each time. Again, we started at 30 even before he washed any cars. And then every single car goes up by $10. And I drew an arrow at the end of mine because he could keep washing cars for forever. So that number line isn't actually ending. It's going to continue on. Now that we've created our data table and we've graphed all of the information, I want us to look at these 2 word problems to determine if we can figure out how much money Omar will need or will have. So our first question I want us to dive into. If Omar is saving money to buy a remote-controlled helicopter that cost $145, how many cars will he need to wash in order to have enough money in his savings account to buy the helicopter? Explain. Let's start by evaluating what the equation would be and then determining if he has enough money. So, he starts with $30. That's going to be a constant. $30 is what he starts with. Then we're going to add however many cars he washes times 10 to our $30. Since he gets $10 for every car, that would be repeated addition or multiplication. So since in this problem our number of cars is represented by X, I filled in an X because we could replace the X with a 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 700. I don't know how many cars he wants to wash, but we could replace X with any number. And then we're going to multiply it by 10. That will tell us how much money he made on the cars, but we have to remember he started with $30, which is why we add it. So now let's think. How many cars will he have to wash in order to buy that $145 helicopter? Take a look at your data table and see if you can figure it out. Hopefully you noticed that on our data table, when Omar washes 12 cars, he has $150. I know $150 is bigger than $145. If he were to buy the car when he has the helicopter when he has $150, how much money would he have left over? Well, he has $150, he buys something for $145, that means he'd have $5 left over, which means he needs to wash 12 cars in order to buy it. Now let's talk about this second word problem. If Omar washes 2 cars each week of his 11-week summer vacation, how much money will he make? Explain. We need to start by coming up with an equation to help us understand this, because that's a lot of different numbers to really solve the problem. Let's take a look at the equation I put together. I started by doing 2 times 10, so I put it in parentheses, because if I wash 2 cars every week, each car is going to make me earn $10, so I have to do 2 times 10. If I do that for 11 weeks, I'm going to need to multiply my answer per week times 11. That'll tell me how much I made on week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all together. Then I have to remember he started with $30. So he had $30 in his bank account before he started washing. So I need to remember to add that at the end. I want you to pause the video here to solve the problem and then continue on when you're ready to check your work. So let's review order of operations. I want us to start with what's in the parentheses. So 2 times 10. 2 times 10 I know is 20. So now my equation says 20 times 11 plus 30. Next, I want to do exponents. We don't have any. Then I want to look at multiplication and division. In our problem, we only have multiplication, so I'm going to do 20 times 11. I know that 2 times 11 is 22, so times another 10 is going to be 220 plus 30. Since we only have one operation left, we got to do 220 plus 30, and we find that if Omar does 2 cars per week for 11 weeks, he will have a total of $250 in his bank account. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along and take lots of notes while we went through this, and check out your classwork to show me what you learned. Have a great day.